What's up, everybody? Welcome to Planet Coaster, my tutorial series here, 3P Music, 3 p.m., depending upon which program you're following me on. Usually it's 3P Music, but you can find me on twitch.tv/3P Music, also on Reddit, it's 3P Music, and on the official forums of forums.planetcoaster.com as 3P Music. And on Steam, you can find me with 3P Music, or I'm sorry, with 3PM, THREEPM, as well as Instagram, THREEPM. So I'm all over social media. You can find me anywhere. Pretty much just search for 3PM or 3P Music in the Google search. All right, moving in to our first actual tutorial. So if you were just joining us, this is episode 2. Episode 1, we covered the basics of the main menu, different settings you want to look at setting up your game upon first starting. Now we're going to dive into the basic controls within Planet Coaster. So clicking into sandbox mode, we've got a few different options as far as where to start. This is called a biome. So where the environment map that you want to start at. So it's going to, you're kind of limited in your textures for your grounds, for your terrain in the maps that you're in. So for example, if I'm in the Arctic, I can't pull in a grassland texture or a desert texture or a tropical texture in Arctic. I have to stick with the Arctic terrain options that are in there. So that is one feature that's out there that's being requested to have implemented into the game in future updates, is the ability to kind of cross the different biomes and use them in different in these different areas as you see fit. But for now you can't, so you have to choose wisely. So if you're looking for more of that western or desert look, obviously the desert is the option to go with. If you're looking for more of a mountain range, you know, kind of a European looking park, alpine would probably be a better way to go. Tropical, clearly like a Florida or a California park, and of course your grassland or deciduous would be more of your Midwestern states here in the United States, or flatlands, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out in the alpine area. We'll start there, and it doesn't really matter in terms of none of these have difficulty levels or anything like that in sandbox mode. It's just picking your environment. So we're going to call this Alpine Tutorial, or actually let's call this Tutorial 1, and start new. Oh, and it's one thing we're not going to cover is the avatar creation, which they have you do at initial setup. I don't think you can play the game until you have your avatar set up, and you would have had to figure that out already, so that's why we're not covering the avatar. Alright, so here we are, beautiful. If you look at the background, we've got a beautiful mountain range, and as you can see, two beautiful looking trees, Christmas trees or whatever they are, alpine trees next to us. And then we've got a little thing down here, it looks like it's a gate leading into a big grass field area, which is our park. And you're probably saying right off the bat, like, oh man, that is like that's a really flat park. How it looks really bad. Like I can't do anything. Like there's no hills, there's no mountains, there's nothing in here. It's just flatlands. And then if you scroll out, you'll see your actual build outline is the dotted white line here. So you do have some variation in terrain as you move around the map and out towards the back. But yeah, initially it's pretty flat map, and you're going to start pretty flat. The other thing to keep in mind is that you are coming in here at an angle. So that can work in a couple different ways. You can either continue to build this out into an angle and start your park here and kind of work your way down and design it however you want, or you can change your path to kind of go whatever direction you want to, and then have your entrances come off in a different position. This is just how the guests are going to walk in through the magical portal mountain into your park. Obviously there's no cars here because they all parked under this mountain, and you can't see them, allegedly. Alright, so let's talk about the basics first. So camera movement. WASD keys are your friends to move the camera around. As you can see, it did that. Also, the Q button rotates, and the E button rotates as well. And then you've got some other options in here that we'll cover, but that's your basic control functions of the camera. And then you can hold down your middle mouse button. That's going to allow you to free rotate the camera however you want. If you're used to like World of Warcraft controls, or any of those third-person games like that, Tomb Raider, etc., very, very similar controls. Oh, hey, bird! Very, very similar controls to how those games work, and you can kind of move around the park like that. Other thing is that scroll wheel is going to zoom in and zoom out. which is great. And then of course your right mouse button, which we covered in the last tutorial, is going to be kind of this jump and drag maneuver. So if I go down here and I hold down the right mouse button and then I move my mouse, I am now going to be able to drag in large distances and quickly. So if I want to quickly move up here, I can do it in 3 clicks, or hold down my S button, kind of scroll and find my way around. So that is one of the that's the basic controls of how to move around within Planet Coaster and operate the camera, as well as a couple little tricks there for how to zoom in and zoom out. One other thing that you want to keep in mind with the camera controls before we end this tutorial, right? We're trying to keep these short, compact, information overload, and you can watch them at your own pace and not worry about missing too much stuff. And we're going to pause that real quick. Is if you press the T, as in Tom, as in Tyrannosaurus Rex, that is going to unlock the camera in free mode, which is going to give you a different experience with those same keys that we just covered. So no longer are your W, A, S, and D keys going to do the exact same thing. So this is a W key with the T button pressed. As you can see, I'm kind of zooming in here. I can also hold down the middle mouse button, and that's going to allow me to orbit and kind of rotate in a free manner wherever I want to go. And again, I can use the A key, which is going to go to the left, and my D key is going to go to the right. My S key is going to go back, and my W key is going to go forward like that. Q goes to the ground. E goes vertical, raises you up. So it's more of a, this camera mode is great for taking pictures and taking screenshots and getting kind of ground level, action shots of your coaster and different and weird angles that you probably wouldn't have been able to figure out how to do that with a normal camera. So you can also, like for example, down here on the ground, take your middle mouse button now and just move that all the way up to wherever you want, and the camera is going to stay there, and you're going to be able to position the camera in a different way than what you were before. Your right mouse button in this camera mode still works the same way. It's still a click and drag, so that still operates the same, and your scroll wheel still zooms in and zooms out. Your left mouse button doesn't really do much of anything, but if you hold down your left and right mouse button, you get the same effect as if you hold down your scroll wheel. So left, right mouse button will do the exact same thing if your mouse doesn't have a scroll wheel. And if it does, hold down the scroll wheel so that you can free move the camera in whatever direction you want. So with that, that's the basic controls of how to get around visually within Planet Coaster. And I will see you in the next one when we start talking about paths and some basic scenery placing tips and tricks. So thanks for tuning in to this series, and we will see you on the next episode. Bye.